What's going on, SkinClub community? Are you ready for another video from Banks? That's right, I'm back once again here with SkinClub to talk about something that I think is very important for the whole game. If you noticed on the last video we did, I discussed on MR12 versus MR15. And I think overall, the response from like the general community was much more in the favor of MR12. When I look at like the pro community, when I speak to players, it was more towards MR15. So I've come at you guys with something I tweeted out not too long ago around the majors. And at first I thought, okay, I'm just going to do this video only about looking at best of ones and best of threes in a major. But then lots of other ideas started popping into my head and I was like, wait a second, I got some ideas. So right now we're in a change, right? VRS is here. The game is changing. We've got CS2 now. The systems are changing. There are no partner leagues. There's a lot of positives for the system and the ecosystem that the players are a part of, that you guys are watching, that the esports scene is involved in. And I'm looking at now the majors, because this is what Valve can have the most control and impact over. So I'm looking at how we can improve the major cycle at the moment. We get 2 in a year, which is fantastic. I'm not looking for any more than that. But how do we make the quality of the event better? How do we make the results better? How do we make this more impactful, more legendary, more epic? Well, to start with, and I think this is a very obvious one that nearly everyone will agree with, it's best of ones need to go. Now, best of ones, people say, oh, it can make it more exciting. Oh, it gives the underdogs more of a chance. I don't give a damn. I want to see the best quality Counter-Strike. I want to see the best teams, even if they falter on one map, show that they have the strength inside them, the mental fortitude to fight back into it. And if a team who is an underdog is really better, then they won't just be good on one map. They will be able to fight further on it, and they'll be able to fight back themselves and say, we didn't do it in 1, maybe we did it in 2, maybe we did it in 3 maps, but we did it at the hard rate, and we did it the right way, because everyone has a home pick. A lot of times, best of ones also become more random, because MR12 is obviously a shorter game. That means less chance for a comeback. If you lose both pistols, you're in a really bad spot. Less gun rounds for you to make a difference. Carrigan spoke to me not too long ago in an interview where he said that, okay, sometimes in these games, even when I'm trying to read the opponent and get my way back into it, I can't do it in the same way because we're pushed on the timing for it. Now, what I'm going to do for you guys now is I'm going to bring this up because this is what I've been looking at. I was like, okay, how can I demonstrate this to you guys of like some of the options we have in here when you have an MR12 best of one? And I went to the Shanghai Major. You've got Copenhagen in there as well, but Shanghai being the most recent one I wanted to look at. Now, Na'Vi beating Liquid. Okay, you maybe expect that. G2 versus the Mongols. Mongols are very good. They made playoffs in the end as well. Can't fold them for it. The Furia one might be an outlier here. Like, that was a bit of a surprise one. MIBR beating 3D Max. Probably even level teams at the time. Mongols taking down Maus in here. Look at this. This had a chance to be probably an amazing best of 3. The fact that the Mongols took it on Mirage, both teams are capable of playing Mirage to a high level. But Mongols, even now, quite recently in this year, they are using this as a first pick map for them. Where had we seen a best of 3, it could have been a better game, a better result in there. Then MIBR taking on Na'Vi. MIBR winning against Na'Vi in a best of 1. Okay, it was on Inferno. In a best of 3, I don't think that's going to happen. FaZe losing to Heroic. Yes, it's that new Heroic that came together. But you look at this, and a lot of these best of 1s, they're results that, like, you can say, yeah, might be a possibility, but they're not things that I would be expecting in there. And you have to look at this as being, I guess, a way of trying to improve the quality and improve the results. I'm not saying give the bigger teams and the bigger orgs more of a chance of this. I'm just saying give us the best Counter-Strike so we have the less room for error when we're looking at it. And I want to give you 2 examples of where this played out perfectly, because this year, 2025, we had PGL Cluj-Napoca running the best of 3 Swiss system and ESL Pro League running the best of 3 Swiss system. Both of them used a different way of doing the seeding. ESL went for the way of teams getting to choose the seeding. We've seen now from Valve that they don't want to let that happen coming into the next year, obviously on the VRS side of things changing. But look here, if we look down the overview, if you look down this list, Saw is probably the only outlier of a team you'd say you wouldn't expect to have made it, especially considering what we know when they were making changes during this event. But guess what? They did this in all best of 3s. They were 0-2 down. And if you just look at the teams that Saw beat on their way there, we'll go Saw. So they lost to FaZe in the end when it came to the playoff stage. They beat 3D Max 2-0, legit. They beat Complexity 2-0, fantastic. They beat FlyQuest 2-1. You know, these are games where you can say they didn't get lucky. They didn't fluke it. It wasn't a one-off chance. They had to grind their way back to make that happen. Now, if I go back to the overview, some of the teams that made mistakes, for example, maybe a Virtus Pro, especially with how well they did at Katowice, that was just before this event, you would have expected them to do better. Look at what happened here. They went 2-3. There is no excuses. There is no negatives to it being best of 3. Now, some of the conversation that gets spoke about is actually, oh, well, the event would be more days. Valve control the calendar. They can decide how many days they want to have for a major. They can tell the organizer who runs the major that this is the way it needs to be. And then obviously, okay, from an organizer perspective, then yes, it's going to cost them some more money. If they're hiring the talent, it's an extra 2 days maybe. I worked this out actually. I think it's only 1 or 2 days if you run it correctly and you run a couple of 4 best of 3 days that you do this. Like PGL's schedule of doing this was very good. I worked the event. Yes, there's a couple of very tiresome days in there. Everyone else gets a split shift except me as the interviewer. I'm the only one who's working all games a day, but it actually can be done quite nicely. And then obviously they had the quarters all played on the same day when it came to the arena. But in terms of this being a format that's like, there's excuses to not do it, there are no excuses for best of ones anymore. Valve could do this and force this for every major. I don't think it makes anything more exciting. If anything, that run I'm giving you an example of with Saw is more exciting because Saw made an epic comeback from going 0-2 down. That's a better storyline. And no one can sit there at the end and say, they didn't deserve it. They won these best of ones that were just super easy, you know? And had it been best of ones even here in Saw's case, and they lost the first opening 2 games, they would have had to play the best of 3s afterwards anyway. This just gives us the better quality Counter-Strike. So if it's going to take more days, if it's going to cost more money, and maybe some organizers who run a major are not too happy with that, Valve can also step in, put some of their money there to say, like, this is what we want to do with it. Then I'm going to look at ESL Pro League here right now. ESL Pro League is still going on when I'm watching this game. I'll just say for you guys watching, don't know what your predictions are, but hit me up in the comments after. I think this is going to be 3-0, maybe 3-1 for Vitality, because Mouse can be okay, but it's just too much star power right now for this Vitality team. But let's have a look down here. This is like Falcons, they slipped up. They had that crazy game against Liquid. They won, but they still then couldn't get further through. But look at who made it all the way, you know? We look down here. So Falcons, yeah, there you go. Sorry, Falcons did actually beat Liquid. So that was the game. And they still weren't having a chance to qualify. So they lost to Mouse. They lost to 3D Max. They shouldn't have lost to 3D Max. And they lost to Eternal Fire. G2 made like this gives us, there's no crazy upset in there. There's no wild ride that went there. And actually what I'll do is I'll use Tyloo as an example because Tyloo went through the stage 1. Stage 1 also used best of 3s in this. And look at this. This stage 1 is probably the perfect example of why the best of 1s is great here. Best of 3s are better than best of 1s here, sorry, should I say. Because look at this level of teams. There's a few teams, Eternal Fire, 3D Max, Furia, Pain, you would say, yes, they're favorite to go through this. But then there's a lot of teams just below them where you say, oh, they've got a chance. Tyloo made it through this, and they went 2-0. And then what ended up happening, we'll bring the results up. They went 2-0, and then they nearly let it slip away, and they come through at the very end and beat FlyQuest in a 2-1 scenario. They legitimately did that. There was nothing of them going 2-0 on best of 1s. They 2-0'd 3D Max and Eternal Fire. They surprised teams that are supposed to be the ones making it through to that next stage and grabbing that spot. This, again, is just giving me more power and more reason to say we should, without a doubt, be running best of 3s. There is no excuse not to anymore. And I hope for 2026, the Valve make this change. I'm personally going to email Valve and say that as one of the things I want to see for 2026 because there is no excuse not to do this anymore. There's no reason that we shouldn't have it in this scenario. The next thing, and we had this at PGL Cluj and Poker, is third place deciders. Now, in the past, third place deciders, I guess, didn't matter as much because the tournament organizers would just put third to fourth together. They'd make the same money. They both get eliminated in the same spot. You don't need them to play against each other. There was no VRS. With VRS, the prize money and the team you beat and the place you hit in the tournament obviously all factors into it. So if there's a difference in prize money between third and fourth place, and let's just bring this up again. This is PGL Cluj and Poker 2025. FaZe and Astralis played for the third place decider. 150,000 for Astralis. 87.5 thousand for FaZe. The points here as well, these two teams going, points that Astralis really needed to have a chance of making it to the major in Austin. This was a huge win for Astralis, and they take a third place. Bronze also sounds better. And also, because we have the grand finals on that day, you could just do first game of the morning, third place decider on the Sunday, go into the grand final. It's like a warm-up. You don't need to do a show match anymore as well. That's very important. I think that's something that we also need to look at. Third place deciders can work now because of the VRS, and I would love to see it at a major. And that brings me on to one of my other improvements that we can make. If you're doing a third place decider, third place has become more important. Medals. I only see the big ESL events do medals, and it's just for first and second place, right? So medals are fantastic. For you guys at home to know, players don't get to keep the trophy. Nearly everything I understand is the trophy goes to the organization. Na'Vi have a trophy cabinet. I'm sure Vitality, FaZe, all these other people do. So that you don't see the trophies in the player's way. So if you're getting medals, you go home proud of the medal. Some players, maybe Zontix, for example, if you look at Katowice, gave his medal away. He's not so caring about it. But for some players, that's a bit of history. When I spoke to Devil Walk on our podcast, all about Counter-Strike, where we're talking about all these events every single week, we're going through all our thoughts and opinions on stuff. He's still got his medals where he came second place. And he says it was a reminder to him of the disappointment and that pain that he went through, and that he needs to do better next time. That's also something in it. But I think Valve could force tournament organizers to say, you must supply these medals, or we'll supply these medals. And then it adds more prestige, more value to the majors. Because we always talk about the majors being the best, and then players wanting Katowice, Cologne, you know, those being like the three that players and teams dream of. Let's push the majors higher to be the absolute best in every aspect, so we create a real legendary legacy going forward. And it's still the beginning of CS2. We still have a chance and a time to make this possible. And that would be truly remarkable, truly incredible, and great to see for the game. It's a very small thing, but I think that third place decider would be so important to have in there. Now, medals, it's a very small thing. It's a cosmetic thing. It's certainly something I'm a big advocate for. But then we also come on to best of fives. I touched on a little bit in another video around this. Best of fives for me are hugely important. Best of fives at the moment deliver in a big way. Now we're getting some 3-0s. If you look at the Katowice one, there might be a 3-0 today for ESL Pro League. But best of five gives a chance when you have the very best teams. And let me just cast your minds back to this. Cologne, Na'Vi versus FaZe, 2023. Yeah? Or was it 2022? Maybe 2022. Either way, whichever one it went 5 maps. It was when SDY was still on the team, Simple was there, and it was an incredible grand final. For majors, when basically every other tournament, ESL, Blast, PGL, they all have best of 5 finals now. So the major needs to have it at the same time. Make sure that if you're winning the biggest tournament in the game, hosted by the people who make the game, publishers are the ones putting that money forward. Let's make sure it has a chance to be the most epic game in history. Because sometimes, if you get a quick 2-0, that's a boring day. Make it better for the fans in the arena as well. Some fans I speak to, some of you guys watching at home, you might just say, I'm never going to go to a Counter-Strike event in an arena, but I will go to the major. I'll make the major my first one. Well, that is exactly why when you're coming down on Sunday, you want to see the third place decider, get warmed up, get ready, maybe have a few drinks with friends, and then the best of 5 grand final as well. Yes, you might need to start a bit earlier, timing comes into it, but that is a truly epic delivery of what should be the most prestigious and best event in the world for Counter-Strike, you know? And it happens twice a year, so let's make it an epic conclusion of it all. These are some just quick, key, major improvements we can make. Let me know what you guys think though in the comments. I'm going to be reading the comments. I'm going to start replying to the comments here on YouTube as well. So do give me your feedback. What do you think about these major improvements I want to make? They're not so huge. It's not a massive change. I think it's very easy to make as well. I've covered all the points of what could be the problems with it, but Valve can easily cover the costs, easily cover the development of it, and it benefits the system. It looks better. It's more epic. It creates many more moments. It'll be fantastic for me, you guys at home watching, us as fans of the game, to see it all go down. And then I think that would give us something truly legendary, prestigious for the rest of CS2, and then it's set in stone, and there's no need to change it. We already agreed on MR12. Then we just need to change this up. No more best of ones. And give us the best of 5 grand final. Let me know what you think anyway. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Have a great few weeks ahead of you before my next video comes out as well. Stay tuned on everything SkinClub. And if you didn't see it yet already, over on my TikTok, I upgraded here on SkinClub from, I think I put out $4,000, just under $4,000 value in. Did an upgrade to a Dragon Lore, got my dream skin. It was only a battle scarred one. We finally did it. So we've been winning big as well. No matter what though, play safe, have fun. I'll see you on the next video.